I have to ask all of you as well for reference. If any of you have ever thought that someone has to be doing something about the plastic in the ocean. I think we all get to that point, and especially in, this millennial, this activated millennial, passionate about change and being a cause in the matter. And I think, like anyone else as well, that it is such an overwhelming and daunting task that we sit back and we say someone has to do something about it. Where what we actually hear is that I want to do something about it, but I don't know how. And I think that any time that you've ever asked yourself that someone has to do something about it, you're directly speaking to yourself, in fact. Now, I got to hear myself say that as well. But I was very fortunate at the same time that I heard that, I was also able to hear that I didn't need to be the person that could make that profound change. I only needed to become the person that could make that change. And that was a slow, day-by-day process of becoming. And I also recognized that it couldn't just be me, but it needed to be the entire world coming together to do that. Which is where we ultimately come to the plastic bank being an ecosystem that reveals value in waste. And that at our core is to gather the world together. And we surmise and gather together. There's a double entendre in it. It's to gather the world together and then to gather the material together. Providing a platform for everyone who has ever sat back and said, someone needs to do something about it, a way to do that. I best exemplify it in this chain of stores that we have. This opportunity for the poor to truly use plastic like cash. Medical insurance is critically important for most. Like within the Philippines, where the husband may be working all day in a high-risk environment. And no real medical insurance, no opportunity. If something happens to the income earner of the family, they certainly could be left destitute. And we provide an opportunity where the woman of the household could easily collect enough material to pay for the medical insurance, giving her some sense of security. And more importantly, I think providing a perceived value in the plastic that they're collecting. Because it's not plastic anymore. Now it's a sense of security. I mean, there's one thing to give people cash for the material that they collect, which of course will always be the most popular. But to give people a paradigm, a new sense of life and being in the material. I best exemplify it in the way that we provide school tuition in Haiti. It's $20 a month to go to school. But most can't afford it. There are over 200,000 school-aged children eager to go to school that can't. How will illiteracy ever be solved in a country like that? It can't. It's 200,000 this year, and 200,000 last year, and 200,000 next year. So how will poverty ever be alleviated in a country with such high rates of illiteracy? And so when people look at that plastic bottle, see, the $20 a month, it doesn't even represent the $20 a month anymore. It's not just the cash, and it's not even the school tuition that it provides, but it's the end of poverty in a family. It's hope for generations. And see, that's the paradigm that we're providing in material. And, of course, inside of it, we have to be able to protect that value and exhibit a higher worth in the material than what was ever perceived before, which is where we get into a banking application. An opportunity for people to have a place to store the value as well. Being able to transact the value. To really give it a sense of currency, something important. To exchange it amongst each other, to give it a sense of safety. And as we continue to build out a platform we see at that base, at the base of needs, this need to come out of a sense of scarcity and danger to get to a place of self-reliance. We see where financial inclusion is so important. That's widely discussed and something I probably don't need to elaborate on here. But to give the poor an opportunity to be able to earn a credit rating, so the more frequently that they return material, the better the interaction that they have at that point of exchange. The more people that they bring into the ecosystem of collection, and the higher their frequency, we can easily establish a sense of value and worth in that person. Their ability to continue to earn an income. And then inside of that, we have an opportunity to then understand how much material they're collecting and what value that material is, which we hope to go on to then provide a debt service ratio. Ultimately being able to establish how much you can safely borrow. To give them perhaps inclusion into land ownership, or the ability perhaps to buy a fridge, which would be so important. One of the partnerships we have unfolding today with one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies, that I can't name yet, is seeding us into Africa, where they can now provide life-saving pharmaceuticals to the abject impoverished, all available now using plastic garbage as currency. What a profound shift. I love the idea that with some, even in a family, perhaps the entire family goes and collects material. See, I think that anyone now has access to the medical care that they need. Just gather together. Gather your family together, gather your village together to collect enough material for the things that are most important. Now, one of our relationships in the Philippines with Manly Plastics, one of the large producers there, producing school chairs. I came to learn that there's 11 million missing school chairs in the Philippines. And so now we're working on an interaction where people in the global north can deposit the value of their recycling and provide school chairs. It's powerful. And an opportunity for the entire world to come together. Now, where it comes to the blockchain, I'll give you one of the ideas of what is unfolding today. Solar lighting for the world is very important as well. Moving away from kerosene and all the issues with that, providing an opportunity for you to not be in darkness in your own home, even during the day when you live in a slum, you have no light. It's almost impossible to do anything in your home. Well, with the solar lamp, and the solar lamp that we found has a chipset inside of it that not only helps you connect your phone and then charge the phone, which is rudimentary, but more importantly, it allows you to transfer value from your phone into the lamp. So that the poor now only need pay for the light and not the lamp. To be able to transfer the value from the material that you've collected into a bank account. And then connecting your phone with the lamp, you can transfer some of that value to the lamp. Those microtransactions, so important. And that sharing economy, as we see emerging around the world as well, to be able to do a microtransaction perhaps to a shared bicycle or other items that would be important for you. You see, it's not that much of the world makes less than $2 a day. It's just that we haven't really provided the world a lot to buy when they only make $2. And we continue to want to be able to provide that opportunity for the poor using the value in plastic. And the great intersection of all of that is a banking technology, which happens to be a blockchain banking technology, a hyperledger fabric on the Linux One platform, so that we can create a collaborative space for the world. Somewhat of an open platform. Now, I use the example, and I'm future speaking, but what we're endeavoring to create is a way for a young lady that perhaps is growing up in Sierra Leone, that her mother may sell fish, let's say. Now, that young girl might have a computer sciences scholarship, and she's learning how to program. She should easily be able to create a point-of-sale system that allows her mother to be able to sell her fish more effectively. Also data for her. But if she collaborates within that social plastic ecosystem, if she gives just a small discount on the fish, she provides an additional value for the plastic that's being collected in her community, providing an additional incentive for the population to be stewarding the environment. Now I think more powerfully, that point-of-sale system that was created for her mother becomes something that every person who sells fish around the world could use to make it exponential, to gather the world together. I use a binary expression. Maybe I'll call it a metaphor for blockchain. In a binary sense, zeros and ones. And for us, the way we see it, and I know much of the world sees it differently, but the way we see it is authenticity. And within a business context, if we look at falsehoods, if we look at lies, if we look at incomplete data, if we look at things that we can't rely on, out of a value of 0 and 1, we would have to give that a value of 0. When we look at fact, on those things that we need to rely upon, on the truth, we can give that a value of 1. So in business, if I apply 100 units of energy or value to falsehood or 0, I would still get 0. And for us, we need to apply maximum value to fact. And so if I apply 100 units of value to 1, I'll get 100. And when we're looking at something of such perceived small value now, any effort we apply to it must be multiplied. And so within the blockchain, that is our effort. That's our ambition. And there's going to be others applying it in different ways around the world, but for us, we need to maximize the value in this material to such an extent that it's never viewed as waste again. That's the plastic bag.